that the first time I met you? Yeah.
Well, I really think we should do more of these Carpcast interviews actually out at the side of a lake. Just got down to a local syndicate. I'm sat here with the only carp angler with a better haircut than me.
Yeah. Better or worse?
I'll say better, I'm being polite.
Be polite, yeah.
But I'm sat with Julian Cundiff. And how many carp have you caught today?
Got down here at just before 4 a.m. As of an hour ago, I had 22.
Wow! And as soon as I pulled up, the first thing I did was get the camera.
Yeah. I had to be fair. I knew you were coming later, and it got to about 3:30, and I had to actually wind the rods in, other than the surface rod, which obviously you've just photographed that fish me there. It was been a good session. At 820s in a day is pretty good, really. Anyway, I suppose.
Good. That's smashing it, and that Con we just pictured is actually still sat in the weed down there.
Yeah. We'll give it a shove before we go, yeah.
He wants to be on the Carpcast.
Yeah, well, he will be. His picture will be, anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
About 18, 19, that one.
Even crashing all around us.
Yeah. I came Sunday. I didn't fish this peg, I fished next door. And actually this wasn't my original choice to swim. I'd led it about when I left on Sunday, another swim on the right hand side we call the hump, and that looked absolutely spot on for me fishing. But when I always have a walk round, even when anybody who says that they don't make their mind up about fishing in advance, generally that's a bit of a lie. We all have a starting point. I knew that my starting point was probably going to be the hump on the conditions, but when I walked around here, 3 fish just crashed out in the dark. So I thought, I set up here, I was fishing just after 4 a.m, and then it's been literally 2 an hour, most hours until I wound in. I mean, that is unusual. I have known of people getting into double figures over 24 hours, but in 12 hours, it's a good catch.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you put it down to? Is it just a change in weather, or I think daylight hours reducing?
Culmination of things, really. It's a culmination of things. There's no one thing. First of all, there are swims that you will catch fish from. This is one of those lakes where most swims you're in with a chance of a bite, but I can think of maybe 5 or 6 swims on this lake where you're going to get a multiple hit if the conditions are right. And that's why I picked the swim. If I was doing an overnighter, I wouldn't go in the swim. Far too weedy, too enclosed for an overnighter. An evening session, day session, great, but overnighter, I wouldn't come in here. It's a multiple hit swim if you get on the fish and the fish are here. But I would say conditions were perfect. It got a bit bright at dinner time. It's a little bit bright now, but everything was right. It was one of those red letter days, to be honest. Probably my most memorable day for... I'm going to call it the decade. That was memorable because of the fish, yeah. But as of a day's fishing, I don't recall having a better day's fishing, to be honest.
Yeah, and just looking at this swim, it looks like there's several different angles they can come at you from.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing anglers make a mistake, that they don't think about where the fish are going from. They just think that the fish are there or are going to materialise. And I've watched this swim, or I've fished this swim a couple of times, but it's probably a culmination of 2 or 3 months of watching it that's actually given me an idea about where to put the baits. And they're not in the same spots that everybody puts them. But they come at different angles, and I'm fishing 3 spots because it's too tight with the weed. You're going to pick your other rods up. It's all right fishing your rods tight when it's clear water. But if you're fishing 2 or 3 rods on a small spot in the weed, I don't care who you are, inevitably you are going to pick up the other rods when they run. Because when they run, they absolutely go ballistic. We've got somewhere between 3 and 4 foot of water out there, and when you hook them, they absolutely go bonkers, and they kite left or right, and they're going to pick your other rods up. So hence the rod tips are quite high, so I can see where they are.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I just had a session this week, and
crashing out still.
You're not kidding. Oh, is that fella behind actually got one on?
Yeah, I think he has. Yeah, that fella behind's got one on. Yeah.
Wow, there's fish coming out all over the place, and my rods are at home in the garage.
Yeah.
Not that I've got a ticket, but never mind. But I had a session this week. It was quite busy there. I looked at the weather forecast. And like I say, I've drove down, I've got an idea where I want to be,
Yeah.
you know, based on previous knowledge and the weather.
Yeah, that's your starting point.
There's someone in that swim.
Yeah.
You know, that was ruined. Ended up in a corner, but they have been getting in that corner, and I thought, sorry, there's no fish there now, which is great. I'll get my trap set. You know, did it, and they were only down there for maybe a couple hours at most, but I got 2, so I was happy with that.
It's a good result.
Yeah. So let's talk about bait, because I know you say you've got through quite a bit today, and have you been pouring it in?
I've been putting the key in now for. I've used the key from the start of the year. The thing nowadays with bait is, and this I find this quite amazing actually, is when I was in the 80s, people were really concerned about bait. Bait was the thing. Tackle was, you know, it was nice to have good tackle. Nowadays, people don't seem concerned about bait at all. It's the first concern seems to be, what can I get for free? What can I be sponsored on? Or what's clicky or trendy? Bait, you know, I'm not talking about the well-known carp anglers or maybe the 5 or 10% of people who really are clued in. For the majority of carp anglers nowadays, bait doesn't seem to matter at all. You know, it's just, the more interested in your rod pod or your looking carpy with your waders, that's fine. But it amazes me when I talk to people nowadays, very few people talk to me about bait. They talk to me about sponsorship, rigs, everything, but not about bait and bait choice.
A croc carpy.
They are, yeah, but with you on the carpy, mate, they are very carpy. But yeah, I've been putting the key in, and the edge that I've found for me is that I've been coating them. I've been obviously frozen versions, which is what I prefer, coating them in oil the night before, and then putting a good old handful of stick mix in, swirling it around in my hands, and then the next day you've got literally these coated boilies that carp just seem to hoover in on. The thing with the key is, most baits will catch carp, but for some reason that key, they seem to really search. When they get on it, they will continue to keep looking for it and not go away. From my observations, don't make it a better bait than any other bait, but there's something about it that's definitely an edge.
Yeah, there is, you know, literally a handful. I can think of several baits that I've put up there on the saying, the one I'm on at the minute. I'm on it for that very reason. You know, it's one of John Baker and John Llewellyn's recipes, which is why I've gone there. And I do, like you say, I totally agree with you there. People should think a lot more about the bait and quiz the people who are making them. Yeah. Is it Fred in the shed who's got a recipe offline and wants to make a few quid? Is it someone who's got genuine knowledge and genuine passion for it?
Most people, they're not bothered. They're not bothered. They are bothered about price, about clickiness, about potential of getting a free tub of pop-ups, which amazes me, because when I grew up, that was the last thing. It was, you know, Jeff Kemp, Rod Hutchinson, and you didn't pick it particularly because it was cliquey. You picked it because he knows what he's doing, and that nowadays that's not part of me. You know, that's the way the world is, and you know, long may it continue like that.
Oh, I remember years back saving up for a bucket of I Nouvel.
Yeah,
remember that? How much was that back then for a 10k bucket of base mix?
Oh God, really 10k! I don't think I could even afford that. But I do remember going to Trevor Moss's original tackle shop in Gainsborough and buying 3 lots of Hutch's protein mix, some Jeff Kemp Amarillo, and thinking, well, that'll do me the rest of this year. And it was. Whereas nowadays, you know, I've brought 5 kilos today, and I really, it's a red letter day. It's it's unusual. I could have used 7 today. You know, I put a kilo of each rod to start with, and I've kept topping it up in the day. And to be honest, the more that's gone in, the more they've fed. But you know, it's a red letter day.
Yeah. So coming from a fella tight Yorkshireman to another, you've used 5k of an expensive bait. Well done. I'm proud of you.
I mean, I'm sponsored, and people say, well, it's all right for him, he gets it for free. But let me tell you, in 1983, 84, when I started carp fishing, through to probably the early to mid-90s, I paid for my bait. Eventually I got it a bit cheaper, but I didn't get free bait for a long time.
Free bait is earned, you still have to work for it. Free is a bit of a misnomer, I think. You've got to do
nobody gives you it for nothing.
Exactly. You have to earn it in other ways. But I remember, just up, you know the place, Thorpe Marsh Power Station pond, where myself and a friend Darren used to fish years back. And in fact, it was about that place you published my first ever article. Yeah. Light Leads. Yeah. I've still got that.
In Carp Fisher?
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But yeah, we both saved up. We both made the mistake of going for a sack each of cheap base mix.
Yeah.
There was bits of rubber and all sorts of shite in it. And but you know, trip out to Ace, you know, we bought lots of stuff, bulked it out. We couldn't afford to get any more, but you know, we were rolling it. We were. I remember that season. I believe we were using. It was Nutrimates additives, some salmon oil, betaine, cranberry Nutrifruit.
Yeah, very good.
I think there was one other thing. Remember, there'd been 4 ingredients. Anyway, put that in at the recommended levels we'd seen in an article. And we used to be at his house on a Monday evening in his shed. We'd roll a 20 head mix and split it into 4. We'd have 2 bags apiece.
Yeah.
One of us would bait up on a Tuesday night with a bag. One of us would bait up on a Thursday night with a bag. Friday and Saturday night were overnighters. We had a bag each to fish with for 2 nights. And that's what we could afford. That is what we caught so many fish.
It makes a difference. Baiting up makes a difference. It's not essential to catching carp, but it's another edge, like a sharpened hook or whatever else you want to do. Yeah. It's not essential, but it definitely gives you an edge.
Yeah, I see carp like any wild creature. They can be trained with food.
Oh yeah. Especially if it's what they like. There are, you know, I've used baits that are really good on one water, but don't work on another. You know, and good baits. Yeah. And occasionally you do find that, but you know, if you find a bait that really works, the more they get, the easier they are to catch. A bit like floater fishing, they get past the point of no return, which they clearly were today.
Yeah, I mean the you know, getting back to people going for the quality bait. That's what a lot of my baits are tested for you know, a year or so.
Yeah.
A bait that'll spank one water, you know, that is, I don't know, like a sand pit like where we are now, might not work on a clay pit.
Exactly.
You know, they've got to get that happy medium, a bait that is going to work on so many different sorts of waters, which is where field testing comes in. Fred in the shed isn't going to do that testing.
No. He's interested in making enough money to cover his costs and things like that.
Yeah, and and pay for his own fishing, so he doesn't have to get a proper job.
Fair play. You know, it's each their own, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So let's go on to the next step. Let's talk about rigs. I know you praise the multi-rig quite a lot. Is that what you've been using today?
Yeah, it's probably, if you take away floater fishing, zig fishing, I would say since 2008, 95% of my fish will come on that. Just a bit of a lift on that right rod. 95%. I just use a multi-rig. I mean, it's obviously a variation now. It's probably changed all its components since I first started using it. But I've got a multi-rig out there, 2 ounce drop-off lead, size 5 twister sharpened, and they're hooked time and time again. Yeah, I don't mess around with rigs. It's my starting point. The only time that I would change from it is if it was a bit clearer and the fish were really clouding up the water and not picking up the bait. Then I would use a bottom bait or a cultured hook bait, something like that. But generally my starting point on here, especially in this weed, even the clear patches have got weed on them, I'd use a pop-up rig, always.
Yeah, and there's one thing that interests me, because I've got my own opinions on it. A straight pointed hook like the twister is, or a big point?
Straight pointed hook all the time. I've never liked
I'm glad someone agrees with me.
Yeah, I've never liked beaked hooks since I first saw the Leon Dore 1534. Absolutely horrible. I was a Mustard O'Shaughnessy 13021 or something like that. I've never been a fan of beaked points. I've always liked straight points. But there again, I don't fish gravel pits, so whether that makes a difference or not, I don't know. But I'm not a fan of beaked points.
Yeah, I mean, well, anywhere I fish, when it comes to me, it's when, Twisted had not been out too long. You know, I've got some, and to be honest, I put them in the back of my box and forgot about them.
Yeah.
And I had a session. It was on an icon, blank 2 nights. You know, different streams moved. Found them for the last morning and just cast in little bags at them. Caught 4. The first one, this is I'd gone on to the twisters for.
Can you come and take us a picture?
No reason. Well, looks like we've got some picture on us to do. I'm just going to pause this and we will be back in a mo. And we're back. It's another lovely little common, like a lot of the fish in our how's it? 8 kilo, he said. Yeah,
he's got some old salter scales which only weigh in kilos.
That's old school.
So 8 kilos, we're talking
16.5 pounds.
A bit more, probably 17.5, isn't it? 2.2 pounds.
2 pound, 2 ounce, yeah.
Yeah, so it's about 17.5. That was a good 17 pound of that. That is, I would say, probably typical of the fishing here. A lot of fish between 15 and 18, 19, which Great fish.
Yeah, great fish and great fin.
Yeah.
Great fun, sorry. And
Yeah.
a lot of commons.
Yeah.
I've sat back down with me back to the water. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm just having a shuffle.
Yeah, the twister. I think they've called it an ugly hook. I've never thought it as being an ugly hook. It's never looked ugly hooked. An ugly hook with the cranked hook rig. That was an ugly hook. Or the crank hook. I mean, it's not a pretty hook to me. But twisters, I've done. I've gone from Fang X to Fang Twister, and I love the twister.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying that session on Icombe. First fish I caught, snailed an inch back.
Yeah.
The next three, they weren't feeding well. Each one of them was hooked lightly.
Pricked themselves,
but when you come to unhook them,
Yeah.
that hook was never coming out.
Yeah,
That set
yeah.
me thinking. I did a few experiments at home with a bit of orange peel and several hooks. Some straight pointed ones, not just a twister. A few
Yeah.
was, I think the stiff rigger was one.
Yeah,
and,
good hook. Yeah, lovely hook.
ESP Longshanks are
Yeah.
a favourite of mine. And what I found is you could get a big point or a straight point.
Yeah.
If they both prick
Yeah.
just on the edge,
Yeah.
with a straight point, the hook is going to kind of turn upwards
and
slightly,
yeah.
and the point
Drives
is going to
something.
go down
Yeah.
in a straight line. It's going to go down.
Yeah.
Your big point is going to go down, and because of the angle, the trajectory, it's coming back out already.
Yeah.
That gives you the hook pull, I believe.
I just don't like them.
So, I'm a bit. Any hook with a long straight point gets me attention, and
Dropping the leads all the time as well. That's controversial, isn't it, to some people? I'm amazed that it is controversial. I've seen so many people not drop the lead and end up with fish snagged up in balls of weed, losing 30-40 yards of line. I only lose the lead in heavy weed. I certainly wouldn't want to drop the lead on the take. I drop the lead when it goes into heavy weed, and that weed out there is heavy enough that if you don't drop you will build up the weed on your line. And I'm always drop the leads, always drop them.
Yeah, similar to me. I've got to ask you. You've got the leaders on at the minute.
Yeah.
I've had problems in the past, especially on weedy waters. If you get a ball of weed collects at the top of the leader on the leader knot.
Yeah, it can do. The thing with the diffusions as well, and what I do like is the new Nashi soft tail rubbers. They will keep rolling back as well. Hard tail rubbers are the problem with dropping off leads. The softer ones are great because they just roll back and they will go all the way up the line. Luckily, I've not had any because they've got a loop. It tends to just keep going, and I've not had any problem with that. But I do know what you mean about it building up on the end of the leader. But luckily, I've not had that today.
Yeah, as a result, I'm only fishing leaders around 18 inch. But
Yeah, same as me.
Your lead-free leaders. That
Yeah.
It's more,
Yeah.
Not for the sink to the bottom, more of the abrasion resistance quality. Oh, Jules is away. He's forgot to turn his buzzer on. It was banging and his buzzer's lighting up, and we had no volume. We couldn't get some noise on that one. But there's a fish. It's rolling out in the weed. Do you think it's dropped the lead yet?
Just a bit.
All right, I'll see how much long we can keep this going while Jules plays a fish.
And I can tell you that I've only got 3 hook links left.
Yeah, and just as Jules says that, the weed has rolled straight down the line. It's
Yeah,
nearly
right,
at that magic point where it covers the fish's eyes.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want it. I think what you're doing at the times as well, the thing with weed is you're conning them in. You're not actually pulling the heads off, you're conning them in. It's not a million miles off. Oops.
Yeah.
And
it's in the net. Is that a mirror?
and it's in the net. It must be true.
Yeah, in the net it must be true.
Oh, it's a little baby mirror. That's a baby mirror.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah, a baby mirror. I won't be just on, and I'm not re-putting this rod out because when all 3 rods are gone, we're packing up. There we go. Another fish.
Let's have a look. Shall I give him a rig inspection?
That's really unusual to get a small mirror. Look at that bottom lip.
Yeah.
Bottom lip.
That fish was not coming off.
That was not coming off. Yeah. There we go. Lead's gone.
Yeah, basically everything we've been talking about. There's proof in the pudding.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. That's done.
Yeah, that is only the second carp caught live on the podcast. And the other one was Adam Penning.
Oh, there we are.
I've tried several times and failed so far.
Well, I'm not going to photograph him, he's only small. In fact, he is the smallest one I've caught today.
Yep, he's a lively fella, looks like he wants to get back.
He's going back, don't worry.
Yeah. Well, I say you've conned him in.
I conned him in. There you go. Number 23.
Yeah.
That rod is not going out again. And it's funny that out of the 3 rods, that was the one I least expected to go.
So we're going to have a countdown for the next 2 to go.
They will go.
I've said I'm going back to the water. I'm not doing that. I can't do it.
Yeah, again, that was a hook to the bottom lip. The thing with sharpened hooks as well. What I have found with sharpened hooks as well is, I love my twisters, and I don't think you need to sharpen them to catch fish. You know, I'm not telling that. But what I found is that I am pricking a lot more fish, and I'm dropping a lot less.
Yeah, I've been. Recently I've got some new sharpening kit.
Yeah.
It was a lot easier to use than stuff I've had in the past, and I can actually do it properly. Basically, get the satisfying points when I look at them under the microscope. The eyepiece thing, it's nice and needle sharp.
The trouble is with sharpened hooks, they are one bite hooks. For me, I have I think probably I maybe have used a sharpened hook twice at the most ever. They're one bite hooks for me. That the points do turn over quite easy. Well, you're fining them right down, aren't you? So they are going to turn over.
Yeah, that's the payoff.
That's a payoff. But you know, it's a hook, isn't it? It's you are pricking more fish, in my opinion.
Yeah, if someone said to you, you're going to catch 1 fish for 1 hook, but
do it every time.
One of those fish.
Yeah.
Is going to be, and you're going to get more. And
yeah, you are.
I don't think on pressured waters, you know, cagey fish, small waters like the one that's been punishing me through the summer.
Yeah. It's a percentage game, isn't it? The crasher. It's a percentage game, isn't it? I think nowadays, and I've talked about this before, is with so much written and so much available and so many waters, everybody can hit 70%. Everybody can hit 70%. But the carp get used to the 70%ers.
Hello.
Is that a fish or was that a... I have a feeling. I don't know if that was a fish. That was certainly that was right over the baited area.
There was a bit of a rattle.
There was a bit of a rattle, and it was a bit of a swirl. You know, there's so many people fishing at 70%, and they will catch fish. There's no doubt about that. And it's a very effective 70%. It's the last percentages: the sharpening the hooks, the recasting, the balancing, the overshotting, the getting the hook baits right, the 101 other things that creep that percentage up to 82, 83, 84, which most people aren't bothered about, to be quite frank. So I'm happy with that. But yeah, it's just another percentage.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And you know, are you like me? You're always looking. I mean, you've been at this game a long time. You know,
30 years now.
Yeah, wow. Are you? I mean, obviously you're still as keen, but are you still looking for that extra percentage like you whether you were 20, 25 years back? Are you still looking for the next edge?
To be honest, I'm happy with what I've got, and I tend to look at I look at what I've got, and I'm happy with what I'm doing. And one of these, they're definitely over that left hand, that middle. Oh, it's my middle rod, isn't it? Oh, my left hand rod now, I suppose. I'm happy with what I'm doing, but I can't do things not as efficiently. If either it's right or it's wrong, I can't chuck a rod out and say that's close enough. I can't chuck a hook out and go that's sharp enough. It's either right or it's wrong to me. So
I totally get you.
It's difficult. You know, there are less and less edges. My edge is my determination, my motivation, my things like that. That's my edge. My edge is, I'm not a young man anymore, but I'm as passionate about as I ever was on the limited time that I have, and I have limited time.
Yeah, so I'm just paused. I'm just totally distracted. I say we should do these interviews at side of the lakes. I can't take my eyes off it.
I know, it's gorgeous.
That's an edge.
That is it, yeah. I mean, to be fair, that's an edge. It's watching the water is definitely an edge. There's sometimes, and it's really weird this, and I would hope that nobody takes this the wrong way. I don't find carp fishing at the least bit relaxing at all. The problem is that you're always looking, wondering, thinking, recasting, rechecking. I don't go carp fishing to relax. I go carp fishing to achieve, to drive myself on. If I want to relax, I'll get on my push bike and I'll ride 40, 50, 60, 70 miles.
That's relaxing?
That's relaxing to me, because my head can be in a different world. When I'm carp fishing, I can't be thinking about anything other than carp fishing. If I'm thinking about other things than carp fishing, I'm not doing it well. Whereas on a bike, you are just simply turning your legs and I can be thinking about anything else. When I'm carp fishing, I can't relax. I can't sit and read a magazine. I can't nod off. I try, but I can't.
Yeah, all I do nowadays, I haven't took a magazine fishing for, honestly can't remember, probably the best part of 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'll download half a dozen podcasts, but I just have them playing in the background. They're not disturbing me what I'm doing. I don't need any hands, don't need my eyes. But,
they are useful. Yeah, I mean, I tend to pack up to Planet Rock and set up to Planet Rock. I tend not to listen to it, but I fish short sessions, maybe 12, 14 hours. But I do like, especially when there's nobody else here, I will put my AC/DC or Airborne, Thin Lizzy, etc. on fairly loud when I'm packing up if there's nobody else here. That is...
Has anybody walked round and found you in mid-air guitar bands?
I'm sure they have probably and thought, it's that idiot.
Yeah, but in my usual session, I'll finish work at 2 on a Sunday, get home, sort my stuff out, I'm off a couple of nights and I'm back home midday Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I'll get home and I'll be shattered.
Yeah.
And get a bollocking from the wife because she just wants to go out and all I want to do is have
if you fish... It's impossible to fish those kind of sessions and be relaxed, because it's not like that. You're having to work all the time.
Yeah, when I've been fortunate over the years to fish alongside some, the best anglers this country has produced on some of the hardest waters, and I think they've all got one thing in common: is they are hyperactive, impatient.
Yeah.
I've seen people move I've done it myself. Moved at midnight.
Yeah.
I did it once when I was half cut. That was fun, pushing the barrow.
I
couldn't sit still knowing the fish.
Being driven is everybody can copy everybody else. You can, if you've got the money, you can go on the best waters. If you've got the money, you can buy a tutorial. What you can't buy is motivation, and either it matters to you or it doesn't, and you can't buy that. You either want to do it or you don't want to do it. There's no middle ground. And whatever you're driven to do something, there's always a chance of achieving. If you are not driven to do it, it'll never happen. I mean, I fish with people who are a lot better anglers than me, but they're not motivated enough to recast properly, and it's...
Yeah. Do you know, there's one thing that's... Well, yourself, you used to, read dozens and dozens of articles.
Yeah.
Every now and then you read something that just clicks in your brain, and one's just popped into my head. And it was a Tom Pickering article, feeder fishing for bream on Semmer water, up in the Dale. And it was just a comment. He says, if it takes 10 casts to get it right on the spot, it will take 10 casts. He will do it. That's why he was world champion.
Yeah, it's still a good angler now. And his daughter, of course, daughter's right up there for angling as well.
I've said it a lot of times a week and learned so much off watching some of the match.
Yeah. It's my idea of hell of match fishing. It's
to be honest.
Yeah. But they are very good at what they do, and I wouldn't want to criticise them, because I don't. Once you start criticising other anglers, it's people in glass houses. We could criticise how match anglers behave, and they can criticise what we do, and the problem is you end up under. You underdevelop everybody. So it's not good. It's just carp fishing.
Yeah. There's another quote. This is years back when I used to go up to the old Pilks matches on the canal near Kirksandall there. Kid on mountain bike, punishing kid, annoying everyone. But there's one old fella, I remember called Wall, kind of took me under his wing a bit. Well, he'd talk, just told me, just keep yourself down, keep out of the way, and we just chat. But I do remember one of the things he says, fishing, it's like sex. You don't have to be good to enjoy yourself. It's just as well for the sex bit for me. You shouldn't judge whatever anyone else does, because
I'm never worried.
Enjoyment.
Yeah.
Too many people do.
Yeah, I'm not bothered about. I like to see other people with fish and all that, but I never worry about what other people are doing, what they've caught, what anybody else might think of me or not. Ever. It's it's hard enough worrying about what I'm doing myself. Never mind worrying about somebody else. I haven't got time to worry about what other people are doing.
Yeah, it is everyone's own personal journey.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best way of putting it. Now, and that's just one thing I was going to ask you. I did have a message. Someone told me, what's in Jules' tackle box? It's down there.
What is in my tackle box? Goodness me.
Open this box of tricks.
Goodness me, what have we got in this tackle box?
Quite a large one.
Yeah, it's the...
Ooh.
Right, what we've got? We've got a couple of torches. Moths? No.
Oh, is that the wallet?
Yeah. Got a couple of torches. 4 pairs of scissors, which people will think, why do you have 4 pairs? Well, it's 2 pairs of 2, if you notice. Some are good for cutting braids and some are good for cutting mono, so you'll find that if you are using one set of scissors to cut braids, if you then try and cut monos with them, it does not work. So in effect I've got one and a spare of each.
That does make sense.
Yeah, no, so I've got a little that is the most important thing. It's my little list of things to do for when I go home. Order leads.
you've tie too many off.
Yeah, tie more multi-rigs, etc., etc. So little things like that. What else I've got? I've got my little pot of shot. I always keep. I mean, even though they're not expensive, but whenever I finish, I always take the shot off and put it away. I do know that one of the little shots will balance out an 11mm pop-up, etc., etc. So it's just saving time. What else have I got? Oh, I've got a second alarm clock, just in case my other one doesn't work. I've got my Jag eyepiece. I don't sharpen my own hooks, but I always look at the points with the eyepiece. You cannot, if you prick your finger with a hook, it will always feel sharp, even if it's turned over. A Jag eyepiece won't let you down. Set of earplugs. They are absolutely fantastic. My mate Duff Batty is the worst snorer in the world, and whenever I go fishing with him, I wear earplugs. Sorry, Duff, but it's true.
I suppose in his business he's going to have a supply of earplugs.
Yeah, he's got a supply of earplugs, and I think he's deaf. And I've got everything else. I've got lighters, I've got tape for marking, I've got PVA. You name it, I've got it. I've even got some spare leads from you. I've got wire cutters. Always important for fish. Sometimes you will hook a fish and you cannot get the hook out with just teasing it out. Sometimes you have to cut the point off, thread it round. So that's the thing. So a bit of everything. I don't have anything special. There's me Lucky Rabbit. I always have it. We all have lucky mascots.
Has it got a name?
No, it's just a Lucky Rabbit, and it goes with.
Oh dear, he's pulling his pants down.
It's the Lucky Pants as well. It can't be.
Look.
They are Lucky Pants.
Oh dear.
We laugh about it, but fishing to me is confidence. If I'm not confident, I am hopeless. And confidence is built up with years and years of things. I know what I'm confident with, and I'm fanatical about things like that. I won't, when I open the gate, I'll never walk in front of the car, I salute magpies, I never wet the net before I get a fish in, blah de blah de blah de blah. Everybody laughs about it, but
we've all got those little quirks.
Little quirks, isn't it? It's what sets your mind.
Yeah. I don't say I'm superstitious myself. The only thing I do is every knotless knot has to have a lucky 7 turns.
Well, yeah, I'm a 5-turn. I'm a 5-turn knotless knot man.
That's
Carp Society, eh?
Yeah, things are moving on there. I see we can join now.
Yeah,
I've put on the website.
I've seen that. I have to say I haven't joined yet, purely and simply because I haven't seen what's happened with the final court battle, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm loath to put money into anybody's pocket until I know it's going to the right people. And I'm rather hoping the right people are eventually going to win it, and it sounds like they are from what we've seen. But it seems to be going in the right direction, and the conference is looking good. So it doesn't happen. Its court battles don't happen overnight, but no, it's definitely getting there.
Yeah, brilliant. So just if if you were at the helm of the Carp Society, where would you like it to go? Would you like it to be as it was? With regional meetings?
I think there should be regional meetings. I think there's a lot to be said for regional meetings. There certainly needs to be a magazine. Without a magazine...
Maybe a podcast.
Or a podcast, yeah, you could have a podcast, you could have a magazine. I mean, funny enough, actually, one of the magazines, I went to the hut to get some water, and Pike Lines, the Pike Society, they have an amazing magazine, full colour, absolute. I don't know how regular it is, whether it's monthly or bi-monthly or quarterly or yearly. What an incredible magazine. Now, if somebody's telling me the Carp Society cannot fund a magazine as a carp organisation, and yet the Pike Society can, I don't believe it.
And, well, there's infinitely more carp anglers than pike anglers. Look at that fish. There's one just waved about a rod length out.
Absolutely.
He's come to have a listen.
Have a listen. Yeah, I mean, I think the Carp Society still does have a place. But until you try it, you can't know what it's different. The world's a different place now. But carp fishing is ginormous now. And if it's well advertised, well promoted, it gives something that other things doesn't. It gets the motif right, it gets the right people in the thing, it's promoted correctly, it can work.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and well, I kind of sit back with a popcorn and await developments. But just reading between the lines on some of the Facebook posts that Marsh Pratley has made, he's not giving much away, but he does. There's an air of confidence around there. So yeah. Fingers crossed on that one, and will you be at the conference this year?
Yeah, I'll be at the conference. I'm usually I tend to do 3 conferences. I tend to do the Carp Society one at Sandown. That's the first of the year, which is a kick-off one, isn't it? And that's always a good one for the launching of new books. The new Mike Wilmot book will be out. That'll be good.
It will. Yeah, we've just had him on the last week's podcast.
Fantastic, great. That'll be a great book. There's always new books out then, and then of course there's the Five Lakes, and then of course there's the big Northern show as well in April. So it's the conference season will soon be on us again.
Oh, you're not kidding, man. We've got an autumn hauling. Hopefully hauling. Well, you've been doing it today. This is what's the date today? 6th of September?
6th of September, yeah.
You've had an autumn's worth of fish already.
I've caught enough carp today. To be honest, I've never wanted to kick the you-know-what out of anything, be it bike riding, motorbikes or anything, because I think you can lose the love. And I think 23 carp in a day, to be honest, is quite enough for me.
Oh, there's 2 rods left out. That'll be 25, that's the target. Exactly. A nice round number.
That's enough. I mean, the trouble is, you think that's enough. 2 days from now, I'll be thinking, do you know what, I should have had 27. It's one of those things, isn't it? And you think you've satisfied yourself, and yet 3 or 4 days later you're dying to get back on the lake again. It's a bit like riding a bike. I do 60 or 70 miles, and I think, why on earth did I do that? 3 or 4 days later I think, no, I could do that again.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've got not bike riding, always kind of on the list with me and the wife, but I've got myself a couple of nice heavy kettlebells that I'm enjoying swinging around at the minute.
Yes.
I don't like doing any exercise with impact because my joints aren't the best as they used to be, but just swinging them around, I'm really getting into it. And I've finished one session, I've got a good sweat on. I did it the other way, stood on the decking in my back garden in the rain. I've gone inside, I want to do that again. Yep,
but the endomorphins, isn't it, that it releases?
Yeah.
And that's the trick, isn't it, is to find what makes you happy in life, and it could be carp fishing, it might be carp fishing to the exclusion of everything else, but I do think you have to try other things and say, do you know what, I love carp fishing, not obsessional to the exclusion of everything else, but because I don't get to do it as much as I want, I try as hard as I can. If you had infinite time to do it, you'd say, well, what the hell, I could go in better conditions. I ain't got a choice. If I've got Wednesday off, I'm going Wednesday. It doesn't matter that the conditions, they might be spawning or whatever, I've got to go on the Wednesday. It's either you go or you don't go.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they go on about weather and moon phases especially. I couldn't give a monkey's what the moon phase is doing. I'm fishing on my days off.
I'm with you on that. I mean,
jig for me.
I don't know about the moon phase thing. Again, I don't look too much into it. There are conditions. Today was ideal conditions for fishing, and I was lucky that it was my day off, so that was brilliant. I'm sure if you had infinitely more time, you could pick your time better. That there are certain times that you would go, certain times you wouldn't go. but there's something perversely enjoyable about having to go sometimes when it's not ideal conditions, because I think you can actually talk yourself out of fishing. If you could go whenever you wanted, you would say, well, I'm only going to go when it's like this. Then all of a sudden you'd say, well, I'm going to go today, but there's too many people fishing, so I'm not going to go. And then, well, it's less than, you could actually end up never going fishing. And it's not, who's going to say which is perfect? You might think the conditions are perfect, and they're not. The only thing that says that the conditions are perfect are the carp. So that it's, you know, it's not a game of mathematics. The carp fishing is so flexible, and there are conditions that scream carp, and I've sat and thought, why haven't I caught anything? And there are other times I've gone and thought, I'm going through the motion here, and it's beep, 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 beep. And you think, how did that happen? And that's the great thing about carp fishing, isn't it, compared to anything else?
Yeah, definitely. I've just had a look on my phone on the app I've got and checked the moon phase for today, because you've had it off, and we're 2 days before the first quarter. Which
is that good?
On it. I don't know. I don't really look. As soon as we're talking about it, but
I used to look at the old Abu catalogue, and it used to have not the moon phases, but it used to say best for fishing and worst for fishing. Yeah. And I think that was probably based around the moon phases. They were great. Those Abu catalogues. I used to love those.
Yeah. Here's another thing I've just noticed that comes up in conversation every now and then. You've got very tight lines on there.
Yeah.
And slack line seems to be in vogue.
The reason if there was no weed, I would be fishing a lot slacker. I would prefer my line to be along the bottom, but bearing in mind I'm fishing probably somewhere about 30-40 yards out. There's a lot of weed. The last thing I want to do is a swirl over where I'm fishing, pick my rod up and find the fish is in a weed bed in the reeds. The fish are not that spooky. Well, they are quite line spooky when you floater fishing for them, but they're clearly strongly on the bait, and I'm fishing probably the near side of each baited patch, so I don't think they're coming across the bait. I mean, we're getting very few liners, and there are a lot of fish about, so I tend to fish slackish lines, but in somewhere like this, you got a slack line, it's in the weed, you've lost it.
It is a recipe for disaster.
Absolute recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and well, that common you caught when I arrived is still sulking down there.
Yeah, well, let's give him a push, because
he's been there a while.
He's been there a while.
Go on, off you go.
Off he goes. Come on.
Oh, there he goes. Oh, does
off he goes. Yeah.
Is he off back for some more of your bait?
Yeah. In fact, he's still. Has he gone there? I'll make sure he's gone before him.
Yeah, he's upright anyway, he's just resting.
Yeah, go
I bet this was a lovely place in the dark. I bet it is pitch black. There's no light pollution anywhere.
Absolutely pitch black, totally pitch black, which is good. But the problem is, you know, this swim you would not fish. If you fish this swim in the dark, it's a recipe for disaster. You are not going to land them in the dark. No matter how experienced you are as an angler, you don't get the same. You can't look at your line, whatever. Funny enough, this swim I fished with Tom Morrison from
Crafty.
From Crafty, and I think it was about a week ago. I think it was a Sunday. It was a week ago, and we had a stack of fish, absolute stack of fish. I wound in at midnight purely and simply because it's not found the fish. You know, it was getting to the stage where, if they were running, I couldn't exactly tell where the majority of the weed was, so I wound them into the morning anyway. So it's not something I normally do, but I had to on that occasion.
Yeah, I suppose even a machine like you needs to sleep as well.
Yeah, I need about. Generally, I can get by on 3 or 4 hours of sleep most nights, and then I'll have one good lay in a week. I mean, tomorrow I'm working at Scarborough. I'm working at the Scarborough Magistrates Court, so I'm up at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. And I'll be on the train for just after 7, and I'll be home 7 to 8 o'clock at night. So it's a full day. You know, it's it's hard work at my age.
Yeah, it's hard work at my age.
Yeah,
you know, I'm one of those people. I need. I can do maybe one day, maybe 2 on 4 or 5 hours kip.
Yeah.
But the night after, I'm going 10.
Yeah. No. Do you know? I don't think I've ever had 10 hours. A full sleep for me would be going to bed about 11 o'clock and getting up at 7. So 8 hours would be me having a leisurely day.
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you what though, I am sleeping a damn sight better since I packed caffeine in a good few months back now. I'll have one full fat coffee in the morning, it's decaf after that, and it notice a difference straight away.
Yeah, I'm decaf, and you know, I'm stuff like that. You know, and again, if you're very busy like I am, you know, we laugh about it, but water, fruit, not eating crap on the bank makes a massive difference. Honestly, I've got in the car. There goes the fish. It's off now.
He's waving at us.
He's waving at us. He's off. In the car, I have a litre of water, and I will drink that litre of water on my way home, because by the time I get in the car tonight, I will be tired. By the time I get home in half an hour's time, that litre of water will make me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, it makes a difference.
I've come down here with a litre of water myself.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah. The only bad thing, I was coming back from the late Tuesday, you know, and I was, you know, drinking plenty of water as I always do. Then I got in a traffic jam near Blythe roundabout as I'm about to get off. Oh, I was driving cross-legged.
Well, you need to have the old bottle.
The Oasis bottle with a big top.
Yeah.
It's got to be a big top.
Big top.
Yeah. Or a jug.
Yeah. No, a little top. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't want to be stopping on the motorway.
No, I know if I was to do that though, I'd have to start moving again, and there'd be a lorry driver right next to me who's having full.
Giving you a wave.
Yeah. Or
don't I recognise you? You're from the Carp cast.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, my name's Jamie.
Slightly more hair than Jamie.
Yeah, oh, I don't. It's going. It's receding.
It's not bad. It's a good hair.
No, it's. Man, we're doing this thing with JRC now. They put a picture up the other day of us. I had to tell him. I said, I can't share that one. You can see me bald spot on it.
Oh dear.
You know, I've got a big comb over.
No.
Most of it before he's gone.
Funny enough, my friend Graham Drury will kill me for this. Graham's got a Hilton photographic, brilliant shop, and he edits his pictures, and he does in fact edit the bald spot out.
I'm sending mine.
Yeah. He will do that. Yeah, go to Graham. If you have a bald spot, go to Graham Drury. He's got years of practicing of editing out that dome area. Sorry, Graham. I did promote the shop though.
Oh, he's going to kill you.
He will kill me, yeah.
Fine. I think his baldness is good enough for, like, say, Kerry King and...
Yeah.
You know...
Oh,
Rob Halford.
You've got two different ends of the spectrum there.
Oh, yeah, but legends.
Yeah, but you also have hair. Joey Tempest, John Bon Jovi. Yeah, I'm going for the hair side of things.
Yeah, look at Tom Araya.
No, Richie Sambora. You're never going to convince me to go bald or into death metal.
All right, bald and hair will cross over. Steel Panther.
Steel Panther. Well, no, that as we well know, that is not real hair. Funny enough, the guys and they were very funny, and they were one of those people when we went to meet them backstage when they toured with Motley Crue and Def Leppard, and went to get the pictures, usually do, and I never forget, one of them said to me, with wigs or without wigs? And I thought, wow, I never expected to hear that. And I went, just as you are, guys. Great band.
Yeah.
But don't play them to your mother.
No. Or any prospective girlfriend.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I've only just recently started actually listening to them, and every song you just, how the hell did they get away with that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the one I was listening to the other day about fat girls.
The
chorus like, whoa, there she blows.
Yeah. It's probably not diverse. Equity and diversity.
No, the political correctness is
not politically correct.
But I think political correctness is overrated in a lot of times nowadays.
Not in my job, you have to be very politically correct.
Yeah, I can imagine, but that's why I like doing the podcast. It is, it's a term of free media.
Free media?
Yeah, where you listen to a lot, like you listen to Joe Rogan's, and I'm starting to listen to Scroobius Pip. He's like a spoken word. He's an English chap.
Yeah.
He does a podcast, and he's a wrestling and UFC fan as well.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I listened to one. He had Simon Pegg on, and Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, Shaun of the Dead, yeah.
And that sort of thing. Was it Space? I think was it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was brilliant. We're getting totally off fishing.
Yeah, let's get back into fishing.
We're waiting for one of these two remaining.
I really ought to recast that left-hand rod because I had a bleep, and I can't sit. I've sat for 10 minutes. I should have recast that.
Do you think you might have been done?
It certainly was a bleep, and there was a swirl over the area, and I don't generally like that.
Yeah, there's a good chance the fish pricked itself or just
I think
caught the rig.
Yeah, and I don't like to to leave it like that.
Yeah.
So luckily the line is marked, so into the line clip.
Is that a bit of tape you have on it there?
It was clear. It was fine, but yeah, it's just a bit of tape on my line. You can see as soon as I pull back in, there's so much weed. The wrong side of that clear patch. I mean, to be honest, it was clear. Doesn't mean you've not been done just because it's clear.
Yeah.
But that's usually quite a prolific spot.
Yeah, and it is coming to a time of evening where I'd expect bites. I'd expect the fish to be.
Yeah, it's
They do seem to have slowed down showing, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they have been fairly well hammered in this one spot. So I'm not really surprised about that. I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's what I call developing the carp in conscience. I cannot sit and think, I'm sure that's all right, or I can't be bothered. Obviously, had I not been doing this interview, within about a minute of that fish spooking over that rod, I'd have recast that straight away.
The multi-rig is going back out, as we've described. Like the only thing I haven't mentioned before, you've got 2 pieces of rig foam on there as well.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I'll just...
There he goes.
Straight on the middle. The reason I use 2 pieces of foam is, in fact, again, I'll just tell you, that was about a foot short, and as I said before, I cannot sit and think that was fairly close, or that was close enough. It was probably about a foot short. Why do I use 2 bits of foam? Most people who use foam use it incorrectly, as I showed when we did the Carp Cast Social, didn't we? They squeeze the foam over the hook, and it ends up like a horrible bit of bread flake. I use colour foam. I use colour foam so that I know both bits have come off. If you use 2 bits of white, 2 bits of green, or whatever, anything over 30 yards, you don't know whether 1 piece has come off or 2 pieces have come off. So by using 2 different colours, you can actually tell that both pieces have come off, and that's still absolutely pin sharp. I put 1 piece on, lick each end of the foam and squeeze each end. Now what that does, it creates in the middle a hole, so when it hits the bottom, 2 bits of foam suspend it off the bottom, the water is forcing itself up the hole and it just forces the foam off, whereas most people put foam on absolutely incorrectly and it just becomes like a piece of sodden bread flake. Total waste of time. But it's something I've found. Oh, there's a fish right on that. In fact, he's probably having a go at that foam.
There it goes.
Again, I can't leave that one, and do you know why? Because I've cast it, and the problem is we've had so many fish today. As you can see, there's so much floating weed, and that dropped actually too close to floating weed, so you can have it. You can have it if you think it's perfect. But if that has dropped down and picked up some floating weed on the way down, all that happens is you've got ouch, that hurt.
Hook's still sharp then?
The hook is still very, very sharp, and that actually has cost me a piece of shot, which I have to say I actually bought.
Oh wow.
Against tax, of course.
Does that go down on your little white notepad? More sharp?
That's how sharp they are.
Oh.
Yeah, a nice little bit of blood there. I mean, that is, that's pricked me. Just, it's not made a... And the one good thing about sharpened hooks as well is that once or twice I put them in my finger and they don't have to come out quick as well if you take them out straight away. But they do hurt.
Yeah, by the time they've hurt, they're already 3 or 4 mil in. I think feel that first.
Yeah, I think the problem is when people put a hook in the hand, they look at it and think, ouch, what am I going to do now? And they start thinking about it. Should I take it out? Should I take it out? Shouldn't I take it out? After about 20 seconds, that will swell up and you won't take it out. So you've got to man up, and you can see them, you still see them on that baited spot. Do you see the swirling over the baited spot?
Yeah, I can see the disturbance. Yeah, still there, about to get a lead on his head.
Still
not happy?
No. As we talked before with Tommy Pickering,
yeah.
The problem is that where I normally drop it at the back of the clear spot, the floating weed.
So your clip distance is a bit...
Yeah, I'm going to have to... So what I'll do is I'll stand back a little bit.
Yeah.
And just drop it a bit short. Yeah, how many times have you put a hook in your hand?
Oh, too many.
How many times have you been to hospital?
Once.
Once, yeah. And did it hurt?
It did. It wasn't very... what did hurt more is I was supposed to be taking the wife out that evening, and instead of going home from fishing, I just slipped the hook link off, tied a new one on and carried on fishing, wiggling the hook around, making it even worse.
Oh no, I wouldn't do that.
So, no. I learnt my lesson there.
Now that is right. Yep.
You know straight away when it's...
Yeah, I knew that. That was the fifth cast. It was fifth cast, yeah? That was fifth cast. And that is right on the clear spot.
Yeah, so hopefully proof will be in the pudding of Jules' obsessive carp disorder in getting the cast bang on.
Yeah, it's certainly on the clear spot anyway.
Yeah. You've got the same butt rests I use as well, the gripper ones.
Yeah, again, anybody who's fished in weed and just leaves the butt on the bottom, it's a recipe for disaster. Because when the carp takes, it will lift the butt of your rod up, and I don't care how big your snag ears are, that is going to come off. Yeah, they're absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
I had some snag ears for a while myself, and then I thought, what the hell am I doing with those?
Every time. Carpy.
Yeah, well, that was my carpy 5 minutes. But wherever I can, I use single sticks and point the rod straight at the spot anyway. Yeah. Snag ears are pretty much redundant.
Yeah.
And they were plastic and crap. But they were cheap. That's the main thing.
Excellent. So that's it. That should be one of those two. I'm surprised that the right. I'm very surprised the right hand rod's not gone off.
Yeah, it has. One of those casts. I don't know if it was just the ripples from where you had recast. There was no bleep, but I did see the line kind of shaking a touch.
You can see them over that baited area now. You can see the swirls right where that hook bait is. You can see it now.
Yeah. They're bubbling a bit as well, if I'm not mistaken.
They are bubbling on that area.
Considering that is what, a 2-ounce lead just been deposited there?
Yeah, I think when they're... I mean, that is bubbling like mad. They are absolutely... It doesn't... I'm afraid as well, I'm live on the Carp cast.
Oh, Jules needs to water the tree.
This is usually a way of getting a run, isn't it?
Oh yes, it is definitely a way of tempting fate.
I think if you... We'll worry too much about stuff. If when you go floater fishing and those fish are feeding on the surface, you can play fish. You can play fish through fish, and it won't spook them. And then you just keep the bait going in, and they will continue to feed and continue to feed. There are fish feeding on that baited spot. Whether they'll pick the hook bait up, you can never say. But that did not spook those fish.
Yeah, that just reminds us. This is years back. Woolpack, float fishing in the corner. Jamie's there. And managed to hook a fish. It was springtime. I'm playing this fish, I'm stood up to my knees in the water anyway. There were other fish following the one I was playing, not just the odd one, there was about 4 or 5, and you know, and it was a long fight anyway. This size 10 big T, £10 line. It was a £28 linear. I finally landed a beautiful black fish. But there were just others following it. I'm watching with the Polaroids in the gin clear water, thinking, wow, I'm going to try and net all of these.
yeah, 2 £14 you mean. But yeah, you know, when they're not feeding on the surface, anything will spook them. Anything will spook them. The same as on the bottom. But when they're feeding on the surface, you know, when you get them going to the risers, the pellets or whatever, literally, as soon as I net that fish, I will bait up and keep the bait going up, and they are bubbling like mad. They will feed, and I think it happens on the bottom as well. They sometimes get to the point. Sometimes get to the point of they're not bothered. They just want that food, and it's competitive feeding. There ain't just one carp out there. That's the difficulties when you're just fishing for one fish, because that fish can take or leave it. If you've got 4, something struck out there, didn't it? The danger, of course, with this lake is it's full. Well, it's got a few of those things that we don't like.
Bream.
No, worse than bream.
Catfish.
Catfish.
Oh, giant slugs.
Yeah, and this area, certainly to my left, is notorious for producing catfish. I don't want one of those. I really don't want a catfish live for the podcast. Otherwise, it'll be going on until tomorrow.
Yeah, I shall be packing up and leaving you to it in the
Absolutely,
darkness.
yeah. I'm not. I mean, each their own. I've caught one or two. I've not caught one from here, but they are an incredible creature, like a big cat. I mean, they are certainly fish over that area. They are an incredible creature, but they're not what you want when you're carp fishing. Bream. We're talking about bream. I've gone off the mush, as I call it, and I've had no problem with bream since I've just gone straight to boilies.
Yeah, just is it large boilies to avoid them, or just?
No, I've been using 10 by 15 boilie pellets. It just appears that when you put in the hemp, the liquidised sweet corn, the things like that, I think the bream, I've caught a lot of bream from here, and yet as soon as I've gone into just the boilies, it's almost as though the carp will chase the bream away. If they're already around, they're not bothered about it when it comes to. They're definitely bubbling on that, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm going to be very surprised if that doesn't go before the end of play today. But also it's they've been having it today, and it also shows 5 casts, whatever it was, to get back on that spot.
Yeah,
it's still there.
Oh, still, yeah. Those fish are. I think the one problem is now is that I do think a lot of that bait has gone, and it's very unusual for me to run out of bait. But 5 kilos of bait is a lot of bait. It is. But when you're using 15 mils, you talk to people about bait and they say, I put in loads and loads of bait. Most people don't know what 5 kilos of boilies catapulted out is. It's a lot. It is a lot of bait. Most people I know who fish just use, maybe 50, 60, 70 at the most. 5 kilo of bait is a lot of boilies, and it keeps the carp going. But again, if I was doing a bit longer, I probably would have put some more bait out. But we ain't got no bait left. We got no hook lengths left. We got no leads left. We got no bait left.
It's a good session when everything's trashed.
Yeah, we haven't got any hot water left. We got no milk left. I only brought 1 packet of biscuits. We've had to rely on more foam from you. Yeah, I don't really want too many more sessions like this. I now know why the old guys of the past fished a big carp. Who wants to be catching 20 carp a day, every day?
Yeah, there's people out there who do this on a pole.
Yeah.
Ooh, I can't imagine that.
Fair play to people who do these carp matches at Drayton, and I don't know how many carp they catch at Drayton in a day. Yeah.
Oh, it makes you tired. When I saw Kev Hewitt on the podcast, who's obviously he's
is
he in the England team?
Yeah, it should be.
I know he's up there. He's that level, and it made me tired talking to him about it.
Yeah.
It's constant. If they're not playing fish, they're topping it up. And I've watched a couple of thinking tackles with
Harry
what's
Chan?
the two lads?
Billy
and Jamie.
Billy Lunders, Jamie Flowers.
Billy Lunders, or the other way around. I can't remember.
Yeah.
When you watch them, they did one on Walthamstow.
Oh, I watched them in the rain.
Yeah, in the rain, and they're just active and.
But there again, I think you have to want to do it. I've never got into match fishing at all, and whether it was £5,000, £10,000, £20,000, £50,000, it doesn't motivate me enough to try as hard as I would need to do it. Yeah. Same as the pursuit of one single big fish. I'm not motivated enough to. You have to find out what motivates you. And what I'm doing at the moment motivates me to, get up at 3:30 on a day off, to get home covered in slime, to recast. I'm not that motivated to fish for a singular big fish or to match fish at the moment. Yeah. If I have too many days like this, I might turn to big fish angling, I tell you.
Yeah, just poach that big pit over the back.
Yeah, there is,
a few rumours.
Yeah.
We'll get into match fishing. I've got my friend Dan who fishes here. He's just
Dan Robson. He came fourth in the.
He did. He did really well. Had a PB in the final.
£26 was it?
Yeah, and he keeps punishing me, trying to tell me, come on, fish one of these matches with us. I'm like, I can't be bothered. I'm not going to fish in a swim that I don't necessarily want to fish anyway.
At a time that you might not necessarily want to do.
There's rules.
Yeah.
As well. I can't pick up my sounder box and walk down 100 yards down the bank and check the margins.
Yep.
That's not allowed.
I think it's a good way of improving you as an angler. To be honest, I think
anything that gets you out your comfort zone does.
That is a great way to improve you as an angler. But I think as you get older, time becomes more important. So my time is very important, and I it's funny. I sat at home a few days ago. We did a little pie chart of, if you actually look, you go to bed at, you get up in the morning at 6, you go to work, and you get home at, say, 6. So that's 12 hours of my 5 days a week is spent at work or based around work. And then you go to bed at 10 and you get up at 6. So you've only got 4 hours every day at the most. So that's 4 times 5, that's 20 hours in the week. And then you've got the weekends and you've got your commitments to your parents, to your family, you've got your things that you need to do. You are left with very little time. And for that reason, I only do what I want to do. Because there isn't enough hours in the day. That's why overnighters are great, because it's better to be sleeping at the lakeside than it is to be sleeping at home if you want to catch carp. And most people talk about how many overnighters. There ain't everybody here tonight.
That's true.
There wasn't anybody here last night or the night before. Yeah. Overnighters are very easy to talk about in February, March and April. But
when the nights are long.
Yeah, but most people blow out a lot earlier on than that.
Yeah, definitely. It gets back to just doing what you want to do, and that you just made me think about that pie chart.
Yeah.
If I did that, I work 40 hours a week, in my job.
Yep.
My evenings are took up with either Carp cast, researching shows, chasing guests, lining things up. Talking to potential advertisers, and doing a plan. There
are not enough hours in the day to do everything you want to do. So never mind doing stuff you don't want to do. And I do not understand people doing stuff. Oh, they're still over that baited area. I am surprised that left-hand rod has not gone. But sometimes you can find fish over that area, and they've had too much of a pasting, and there'll be fish there, but there are a lot more. I'm sure if we left them into dark, they would go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. But, it's not the only bites though. I've noticed the mozzies there are a bit
horrendous. Yeah, horrendous. Yeah. It's no good going to work. You get 3 mozzie bites on your face, you end up looking like Elephant Man, and it's you maybe get away working on a building site, but when you go to work and you've got a suit on and you look like Elephant Man, it's I'm fine with mozzies. They don't. Some people swell up, don't they, horrendously. They don't really bother me that much. I get bitten. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's not like losing a pound or something, is it?
Oh, I could do losing a few pounds. No, I don't do too bad with the bites unless it's a horsefly.
I don't think anybody can be immune from if you are bitten by a horsefly, you are going to suffer.
Yeah, but that Avon stuff, that does seem to work with horseflies. We're down in the Cotswolds at one of these JRC filming gigs, and there was like a field full of sheep behind us, and they were relentless. Not like your full, funny, bright coloured ones.
Oh.
It was just these little, some weird, strange little black triangle things, and until I creamed up, they were literally all over me. You're talking not just the odd one biting, relentless. And then, when some of the other fellas turned up, I knew what was coming for him, because it was a hot day as well. And they came round to where I was fishing, and they gets out, they're walking towards me, and that's it. They're like fighting the invisible man with it.
I know. Yeah, I used to suffer on Tyler motorway, were horrendous for mosquitoes and stuff like that. You would get your canvas bivvy, you would zip the things down, and you would probably spend about an hour just getting rid of every single mozzie. But by the time you'd done that, it was so hot in the canvas bivvies. They were great, but God, you used to cook in them. Yeah, I don't miss.
Vents nowadays are brilliant.
Yeah, I don't miss being punished by those kind of things anymore.
There's one
right at the edge there.
That is about 3 foot from the bank on the Jules rods.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very active. I was wondering you've smashed it up today. But,
yeah, I think to be honest, they've had a pasting. And funny enough, there's actually people due here tomorrow. I think Daiwa are coming down here tomorrow. I think Brian Scholes is bringing a couple of guys from the Daiwa, whether Japan or wherever it is. I think they're coming to do. But Brian will surface fish here today for them.
That's his forte, isn't it? He's well known for that.
He's an exceptionally patient surface angler.
I'm not.
I'm not bad, but I struggle. I want to put my bottom bait rods out. I have to just take my surface rod. If I take my bottom bait rods out, I'm instinctively wanting to put a bottom bait rod out as well.
Yeah. I saw on your Facebook the other day, you mentioned Brian Scholes and saying you'd been out and bought a vice.
Yeah.
What was that for? It was a big proper, hardware vice. Yeah,
it was a vice. Most of the time when I'm floating surface fishing, I tend to side hook a rubber mixer or whatever on a wide, gaper hook or whatever, and that suits me perfectly. But eventually, fish do get a bit spooky about that. And I've never been happy. It's never worked for me how anglers sort of hair rig, just a normal hair rig bit of. That's never worked for me at all. I don't know why. It just hasn't worked for me. And what Brian came up with this clever little idea of doing a little a loop and then having a bait band, pulling the two pieces of braid through the eye of the hook, then putting it back and tying it in a loop. It gives it a bit of flexibility, so you're not pulling the bait band too tight. And it creates that little bit of flexibility where the fish is hooking itself. You can't do it by hand. You have to have the hook gripped securely. Yeah. And the only way to do that is to get yourself a vice. So I nipped into the good old Barnett's in York, bought myself a vice, and I'm one of these OCD people, literally tied about 20 up one evening. Fantastic. And it's just that little bit of an edge. I can't sit and think that somebody's doing it better than me. It will drive me mad. Baits and things like that I can live with, but if somebody's got a technique that they're doing better than me, it would drive me mad. I wouldn't ever choose my key bait or my twist or whatever, but when I see something like Brian smashing it up on floaters,
you want to know why.
I want to know why. And to be honest, nowadays floater fishing is, compared to when it was, nowadays you got the great big bolt machines. It's like bolt. It's so much easier. It used to drive me mad chasing the fish round. You'd have one bite, you'd strike, miss it, and then spend another 2 or 3 hours doing it again. That's not for me. Nowadays, bolt machines, get them feeding, overcast, draw it in, they hook themselves, fantastic. And that's floater fishing for me.
Yeah. And the old type bolt machines have just come back out, haven't they?
The old type bolt machines. I never got the square ones. They tended to tangle occasionally for me. I think I used the 50 gram, the new Nash one, 50 gram. That's I mean, I think they've got one that's 125 grams. I mean, that's ginormous.
I'll be using one of them on my 13-foot rods and smashing it to the middle.
I mean, again, floater fishing is, it's an absolutely underrated tactic that people just don't know. I mean, the guy next to me, that to me wasn't floater. He was stork. He was just casting a single soaked mixer type thing. It was a chunky cat big pellet. And that was absolutely brilliant. And he's had 3 today. He was here this morning. He's had 3 over the day. But fair play to him. He stood up all day, and he's had 3 fish, stalking them. Now, personally, I would be feeding a lot more mixers out and letting them self-hook. Yeah. But the thing with the stalking is you can fish straight through 12, 15-pound line, because you are just waiting for it to pick that mixer up. Whereas you ain't going to get many bites on 15-pound line here with a controller. They're just spooky.
Yeah. I think someone spooked some of this bird life around here. It's making a bit of a racket.
It is absolutely a racket.
Yeah. Yeah, there's got to be kingfishers around here.
There's a kingfisher comes out and goes across, usually in the morning, not at night. It comes straight across in front of you. Absolutely beautiful. There's everything here. There's it's a stunning place. I mean, that's why I come carp fishing. Sometimes it's nice. Sometimes it's nice not even to catch. Sometimes it's nice just to sit there and just have a day of relaxing and not catching. You can't relax when you're catching fish after fish after fish. It's impossible.
Yeah, I've had a day that, relaxing is good, but once it's on,
Yeah.
you've got to be on it. And like you say, having to say, you feed, you catch, you feed more. Maximising.
Yeah, because this opportunity may not come again.
Yeah.
A week from now or a month from now, things will change massively. And you've got to maximise your opportunities. So I could very easily have had 6 or 7 or 8 fish here today and left it at that. But there's it's a red letter day, isn't it? It's a red letter day.
Yeah, it is maximising. We've got rest of September, October, November. Are you carrying on this lake?
Yeah, I'll be. I've got. I shall generally fish on this lake. I don't do tutorials as such. I don't have the time, to be honest, or the inclination at the moment. But I've got 4 booked purely and simply for charities. There's one obviously to raise money for the Carp Society. There's one for Keith Jenkins' daughter. Granddaughter. There was that charity. Then there was one for the ACA, and one. I've got 4 charity fishings where I'll take an angler fishing. I might take him here, I might take him somewhere else. I mean, with tuitions, I don't find I can fish and teach somebody to fish as well. I can't.
And when I've done them, I've not tried. It's all about the
for me.
Client.
Yeah.
I don't care. I've not even put rods out on some of them.
Yeah, I don't want to fish. I want to sit with him or her, and I want to, they want to catch fish. I want to. I can't divide my attention because to me, if I did, I'm not fishing effectively myself, and I'm not fishing effectively. I'm not bothered about fishing at all. I'd rather do it properly or not at all. So, when I take people on fishings, when it gets to dark, I will chuck them out. But generally in the day and things like that, I would rather that they were fishing and I wasn't. Because there's only one good swim. There's the best swim and there's the second best swim. So if I turned up today and we were both fishing, I'd be thinking, well, do I put him in the best swim and kick myself later? Or do I put myself in the best swim and feel a bit guilty later? If he's fishing, I'd have put him in this swim and dropped him there next at night. So it's a lot of people ask me to do tuitions. I just genuinely don't have the time.
Yeah, I've seen since we've done the carp cast and made it. How can I put it? Basically put Jamie as well. Just put his names up there, and we've had both of us are quite a good. I had one this week. Some chap from Somerset.
Really?
Yeah, which is
for tuition.
Yeah.
Wow. And he came up here.
No, I had to knock him back, unfortunately. Just for the same reason, I just haven't got the time. And
that's a hell of a drive, Somerset.
Yeah.
We're getting down to is that sort of
France?
Yeah, it's down south, isn't it?
The cost at Watford.
Yeah, it's cost the fuel. The fuel's far more expensive down there.
Yeah, that's what I like that new van I've got. So good on fuel. Whoa. I don't watch the speedo when I'm driving. I watch the fuel gauge. I'm not that tight, but
goodness me, yeah. You want to try driving a Jeep?
Oh, does that guzzle?
Yeah, about 30 to the gallon, isn't it? 165,000 miles. You don't buy a Jeep and worry about petrol or diesel. You're buying it for reliability. It's a fishing wagon, isn't it? I look at all these guys who've got it's very carpy now to have these what are they? The Vito big. What's Jamie got?
Jamie got a big camping pikey wagon, I call it.
Yeah, but they are very carpy, but they are they're too big.
Expensive.
Yeah, they are a big old.
They are luxurious. I've seen inside Jamie.
Fantastic.
It's perfect. I mean, he went all around Europe, around Lake Bled, and
yeah, I saw that they had some amazing fish, didn't they, Reedy?
Oh yeah, he's out at Rainbow at the minute, Reedy.
Yeah, I think they've had some smashing fish, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's on a mission to catch a fish bigger than he is. He posted the scarf.
Well, yeah. I think he probably can do. Yeah. I remember him taking a picture of my decade fish when he worked for Nashi. Yeah. He took the pictures for me.
Yeah,
that was his days of Nashi. Yeah. Now he works at NAS, is it?
The Northern Angling Show. Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be coming around soon, April this year, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's at the beginning of April. It'll be the last show, and well, I'm fully biased. I'll let Jamie announce it, but I know there's just to everyone, get yourself there. I think huge won't do it justice, and fair play to him. This is what NAS fifth one.
Fifth one must be fourth or fifth one. Probably fifth one.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's the fifth, to be honest. But yeah, from
last year was incredible. Yeah, it was a real big show. I've never, that's as busy as I've seen it for a long time.
Yeah, what got me is the amount of people who were spending money there and walking out with like bags, and unless everyone had nicked it, but walking out with.
I think what amazed me was how many people had never been to a conference before.
Yeah.
That did amaze me, which shows you've got something right. It's northern for a start, so. Yeah, I think the people who had not been to conferences, I don't think the southerners who'd not been to a conference that drove up there, but there was a huge amount of people from the north who
and the Midlands as well.
And the Midlands who were prepared to drive to that show. It was an excellent show.
Yeah, and we've had good support from the trade now as well. Obviously, like Nash has been there all the time. We've got Fox there, Corder,
that's
Sticky, and I think JRC are going to be there the next one again. Well, I'm just looking at the time. We have rambled on quite a lot.
We have, mate. It's 8 o'clock. I think it's time my rods came in. To be honest,
I'm waiting for that one last.
No. I think if we hung on a bit more, we'll catch one back. To be honest.